In what was a feisty affair at the Philadelphia Stadium, France beat Paraguay 1-0 thanks to a Kylian Mbappe penalty in the 70th minute. His 7th goal of the tournament. France are now through to the quarter-finals, where they will face Morocco. But before we get into it, let's hear what Frank Leboeuf had to say about the results on last night's show.
I think it takes two to tango. Yes, France did not have maybe the best game, but it's impossible to play against a team like that. They refuse to play. Every actions, every decision from the referee will be like 30 years ago with many teams in South America, let's say, where you have to complain, you have to discuss, you have to not be okay with any decision. I'm fed up with that football, you know, really. Especially when we saw Cape Verde trying to do something yesterday, losing with pride. I'm sorry, but that Paraguay team was everything that I hate about football. And that's unfair to a World Cup. And that's unfair to their fans. As soon as France scored, that was over. Because there was nothing to be offered by the Paraguay team.
Yes, it was definitely a battle, and that's what the Paraguayan papers are referring to. Mbappe in a fight, basically. A little bit of a pun with the name there. And thanks for everything, Albirroja, is what we're seeing here. But, Ali, what do you think of what Frank's saying as we welcome Naden back with us on the fact that Paraguay played France the way that they did?
Look, I've made it very clear over the many years that we've been doing this show that I could not care less about Paraguay, that they are insufferable in the way that they play, that my team in Venezuela, we have fallen victim to that nonsense for years. They kept us out of World Cups. They eliminated us from Copa Americas, doing exactly the same thing. And while I'm saying that, I also will say that there's a certain pride that they play with, a certain amount of fight, a certain amount of grind, that they know this is how they're going to win the game and how they're going to give themselves an opportunity to win the game. So I don't criticize that this is the way that they play. I don't like it. It's not the way that I think most of us think the game should be played. But it's the way that gave them a chance, an opportunity to win against France. And they pushed this game long and longer and longer and longer. And now France is like, wait a minute, is this actually going to happen? I guess we're going to score, but we don't know for certain. And the longer it went, the better it was for Paraguay. So I love me some Frank Leboeuf. But to make the assertion and the generalization of saying that this is what teams in South America do, it's wrong. It's wrong. And I don't like that because I'm from South America and we don't play like that. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize it. I will criticize generalizing and saying, well, this is what they do. They complain about everything over there. Maybe some teams do. Not all teams do that. And those teams that tend to do that, they feel that that's what gives them the best chance to win a game, whether you like it or not. Not everybody is going to have Michael Olise, Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Rue, Barcola, this guy, that guy. Not every country is going to have that. No. So a lot of countries are going to have limitations. And it's still the responsibility of the players on the field and the manager to give themselves the best chance to win. However, you need to do that. Now, for a World Cup champion like Frank Leboeuf, yes, you can look down upon that and say, well, that's not the way you play. For those of us that have to grind in order to make it to a World Cup, we say, listen, this is what we can do because we're limited, because we have me playing up top. We have to find different ways to win games. We're not going to score a bunch of goals. So whether you like it or not, it may not fit the beautiful profile of France, but that's the way they're going to play. And they pushed France to the limit. And that's what Paraguay was trying to do. I'm not defending Paraguay because, as I said, I find them insufferable.
France could take it, though, Naden, and that's been proved. We saw some quotes afterwards from Kylian Mbappe. I will not repeat what he said, but basically he was saying if they want to play dirty, cool, we can play dirty too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's one of the impressive things I believe about this French side, because I think Ali is right. As the game was wearing on, you started to wonder, will France be able to break them down? But one thing about France is that they stood up to the challenge. I think the way that Paraguay played itself is not something that, say, people will tend to enjoy watching. But as Ali said, it gives them the best chance to win any game of football. And for them to make France look less invincible like they have done in recent weeks, I think in some ways they do deserve credit for that. I think there's an element of competitiveness, which they really took to the next level yesterday. But France, they backed it. There'll be so many players, anyone that's played before, you've been on a field before with certain people that when the pressure's on and the physicality increases, some people shy away from it. But instead, with that French team, they stood up. They had the centre halves that were getting in the mix. They had the midfielders ready to battle. And even the front four, to a man, each one of them was prepared to take those licks and get back up and try and do the same things over and over and over again. I think for France, I think Ryan Cherki spoke after the game, and they asked him, how did he feel? And he said, I only came up on as a sub. But for all those that played that 90 minutes, I am so impressed because they showed that they're ready to battle. And for all the nice things that the French team have, they have the heart, they have the physicality and the mentality to be able to push up against anyone. So yeah, credit to them. It was a tough game in some ways to watch because of the nature of the defensive performance for Paraguay, but they lost 1-0. And things could have gone their way if for one or two moments. So yeah, it wasn't the greatest from Paraguay, but credit to France definitely for being able to go toe-to-toe with a side that wants to make it that type of game.
Where are you on it, Stevie? Teams do what they got to do against
Absolutely.
France?
Nobody gives you the World Cup. You don't just turn up with the best team and the best squad and go, there you go. You guys are great to watch, and you know what? You just take it. No, you got to work for it, and you got to ask questions. You got to answer questions that are asked of you, and you got to give. I mean, that's not just myself, but plenty of people said this France team. If you want to play football, they can out-football you, and if you want to fight, they can out-fight you, and that's exactly what they did to Paraguay. They gave as good as they got. They never backed down an inch, but they had the discipline not to get anybody sent off or anybody do anything stupid. And that is the ultimate professionalism. And if you can add the talent they have to that ultimate professionalism, I mean, you've got a great chance of winning a World Cup. So, no, they did what they had to do. Both teams did what they had to do. And France got ahead. And at no stage, all the ugly stuff going on, at no stage did France look as though they were going to lose a goal. Because not only do they have talent going forward, but they have a solid defence. And that's why we have attackers and defenders. Because when it's not quite going right on one half of the field, you have to make sure, if you're going to win the World Cup, you have to make sure your defenders are doing their job. And that's exactly what France did. They did it long enough and well enough to the point where they got their goal, and then that was it. It was never going to be anything other than a France win.
Now, one of the host nations exited the tournament yesterday when Canada were beaten 3-0 by Morocco in Houston. Unahi got a brace in the second half. Sofiane Rahimi also scored a late third. But this is what Jesse Marsh, the Canadian coach, had to say after the game. He said, what a privilege our fans have to follow a team like this that goes after the game like this and doesn't play defensive and shows they can be better. I'd rather be us than them. As good as Morocco are, I'd rather be us. I couldn't be happier. Happier is not how I would describe Ali Moreno's reaction right now, right here in the studio.
No, you wouldn't rather be them. No. Okay, it looks good in a quote if you so desire. You'd rather still be in the tournament. Don't give me this nonsense that you'd rather be out than in because you play attacking football and the other team defended. Yeah, what you should be disappointed is that while you were playing attacking football and you were creating chances, you didn't score the goals. And then that allowed Morocco to hang around long enough for their quality to take over in attacking moments in which they proved to be better than you. That's what they're still in, and you're out. No, it's not better, is the answer. No, it's not better. They're still in the dance, you're gone. Good Lord Jesus.
Listen, it's about winning the game. It's one thing to be proud, but sometimes you can go too far, and Jesse's gone too far. The game's about winning at professional level, at World Cup level. Nobody gives a stuff how good you played if you get beat. That's the bottom line.
OK, we won't stay here too long. We will not linger because Ali's got steam coming out of his ears about this.
I mean, honestly, some people. I'm trying to stay in the positivity, in the feeling on the positivity train, and these guys are trying to get me off.
Our team
Completely off the
reacted
train.
to the result yesterday. The recap is available on ESPN Plus, and you can stream that right now.